So a couple of quick things, just some housekeeping kind of stuff for everybody as we get ready to get into the presentation. In your folder, there was an assessment. It looks kind of like this. This is just for your memory jogging. We're going to be voting electronically. Greg's going to send you an email right around high noon. That's where you're voting. We're voting on the top three. This is simply a structure for you to kind of look at other groups as they come up. The voting is simply pick the top three that you like, and that's how we're going to work it. You read these questions, they really line up with the three questions we talked about yesterday. So do that. The winners again, just for clarification's sake, and we can help mediate this if need be, but I'm sure we'll all work cooperatively. There are three, one full day sessions, one with Logic Solutions, one with our Remove, and one with CHCR to continue to evolve your idea. Those are the things that the winners get. We did have a little bit of a false snafu on the gift cards. Just to make the competitive juices flow, like I need to tell Joe that anymore. Trash or sorry. Never what I expect to get from social workers. Hard to predict. Maybe my expectations are out of whack. But the group that gets the most votes, we will be providing some gift cards, iTunes gift cards to another segment.
And not the other group, and I was wrong. I apologize.
This is the part where we display empathy. Sure. We've all been there. A couple other quick things, and someone mentioned it yesterday, but you also got an email to fill out the conference survey. Please do that. It's important to kind of understand what worked, what didn't work. Feedback is absolutely a gift. Delivered and provided in the right frame of reference is absolutely incredibly valuable. So really, please take some time to do that. And lastly, I want to thank again because it's just not an easy task to bring somebody, a lot of different people into a room like this, learn some new skills, some new language, go through a process that I believe most people are new to, and stick with it. So first and foremost, thank you to all of you in advance for doing it. That's great. I hope that you found that to be beneficial. Secondly, thank you to our sponsors, the Logic, our Remove, CHCR, very, very helpful and wonderful. They're so generous. And I do want to call out again the folks from CHCR, Rex and Larry, for giving us teams to come in and spend a day and a half with us. I absolutely am grateful beyond words for their willingness to help facilitate the groups. So with that said, you are on a hard 5-minute timer. There's a little blinking clock here that once you start will be telling you that. Don't make me do the Fred Barris dog show routine on you. There's only so many people in this room that even know what I just said. Give us the hook. There's the one guy who used to dance in my show. Never mind.
Gene the dancing
Thank
machine.
you. I'm sure that's on YouTube. So 5 minutes, we're going to start with A. Please write on your sheet, get ready to vote at the end, and we're going to try and move through this as quickly as possible. You have whatever's at your disposal. You can come up with the thing and put it up on the projector here. You can talk to it, you can do whatever you want, but the podium is all yours.
Hi everybody, I'm Yasmin Kusunoki, and I'm research faculty here at ISR. And this was an amazing collaborative effort that we hope will actually amount to something real. So thank you for this amazing experience. So our group was brought together, we realized after talking to each other, really with this interest in violence, reducing both intimate partner and youth violence, and also linked with and how that is consequential for sexual risk-taking behavior and other behaviors. Violence is prevalent among adolescents and young adults, and at this period of the life course is particularly important, and this is when violence increases, sexual risk behaviors increase, and they can have long-term consequences for physical and mental health. So we would like to develop a mobile app and website, which we are calling Speak My Piece, PEACE. And our mobile app and website is aimed at helping adolescents and young adults. We've kind of made this with a domestic eye and with aiming at disadvantaged, underserved youth. But we feel that this is transferable internationally, so we have 2 international folks on our group, and also for, the regular teen who does have potentially access to things like this. So we feel that we want to help these adolescents and young adults have better relationships, and these will be both partnerships, either romantic, sexual, intimate relationships, and also friends and peers. And we would do this by identifying and managing conflict, and by empowering them to communicate and have compassion and empathy. So we went through this whole process, which is really enlightening. So we feel that our user and adolescent young adults kind of jobs and the things they want are to manage my stress. So what am I supposed to do now if I'm stressed out? Learn how to communicate. How do I speak my piece? How do I keep the peace? And knowing what a good relationship is. Who is good for me? Who is bad for me? So these are kind of the customer jobs. And then the pains that these young people, especially disadvantaged and underserved youth, are dealing with are external environmental issues, housing, hunger, past trauma, abuse. And so while we can't our app isn't going to address these issues, we will, as I will tell you in a second, try to get at some of this. But what we wanted to recognize is this is the kind of the background of what these kids are dealing with. This is what's worrisome to them, is these bigger things. They also lack positive examples of healthy relationships. And adolescence and young adulthood is really this exploratory period, and so they're also going through a lot of changes physiologically and emotionally. So these are kind of the pains they're dealing with. What they want to gain from this is they want to be able to identify what's bothering me, how do I respond, what do I do, when do I need help, how to develop active listening skills, increase empathy, be assertive but not aggressive. We both want to empower them to know what they want and how to communicate, and then here, knowing what I want, when to stay in a relationship and when to leave. And then here, we feel that we can relieve some pain by helping them increase awareness of their external and internal issues, learn how to identify them. We would have some activities to help them do that, how to assess where they're at that day and over time, and then really show them how to have what a healthy relationship is through situations and examples and videos. And so going here then to the gains, we thought of kind of 3 main ways we might do this. Through a mood meter, a dash, log, diary, some way to kind of track progress over time so they can see that they're improving. And we would both be individual mood, and then maybe who are you with? So they can see, okay, well, you're with this person all the time, and that's when you seem to be really down or really angry. And then we want to have an educational component that would have exercises, games. It would help them learn how to identify what a healthy way to respond would be, and then also have them test them to see what would they do themselves in their own situation. And this would give feedback and real-time progress and connect to the dashboard. And then we'd like to have a personalized profile for them, really tailored to help them identify what their coping strategies could be, given who they are, their environment, and so forth, what the relationship qualities are that they want, and then what their own triggers are. And then we hope our product is the app, and we also want to provide a resource list to get at these external.
Speak my piece, ladies and gentlemen. Go, ready to go on the screen. All right. If you want to put your stuff right here.
Otherwise, I've done it.
Oh, okay.
We broke both screens.
Does it work? You're using the document camera, correct?
Yes.
No, yeah.
Try it.
I think it's working. Put a document on your
ready?
Ready?
You ready? There you go.
Okay. So we are Team Hope. And so here's the problem. The problem identified is suicide attempts and deaths are preventable tragedies. And currently, one key tool that's used in clinical settings for preventing suicide is a paper-based safety plan. So I'll show you what it looks like. This is a very authentic looking safety plan. As you see, there's some coffee stains and such. But what is it? So it has a set of warning signs that a person identifies, some coping strategies that they can use, internal coping strategies, some people that they can rely on for distraction, some people that they can rely on for asking for help, some contact information. This is something that's developed, for example, when someone is discharged from a hospital, or when someone's being seen in the clinic and they are just for suicide and they're being kind of working with the clinician to develop a safety plan. What is a problem, aside from the coffee stain, is that often this is not readily available when it's most critically needed. So when a person is in an actual suicidal crisis, it's not updated. It's a very kind of static document, and it's not reviewed and updated often. So that's the problem. So in summary, the safety plans are not doing their job, and when the stakes are very high. So what is our solution? Our solution is to create an app that is a safety plan app, and we called it the glass box. So let me show you kind of the main frame here. You can see this. So basically it incorporates all the features of a safety plan that I just saw on the paper and pencil copy. It has different coping strategies, reflect, distract, pause that can be accessed. It has at the bottom, it has a contact list, number one reason for living, a camera. Also has a safety checks to kind of removing things around the house that could be used for attempting suicide. It also has a report function, so this is something that can be shown to a clinician. But more importantly, the function that it has, that the paper and pencil copy does not, or version does not, is that it's a living document. So although at the top you can see that there's a daily mood rating, so that person will be prompted essentially, and this could be tailored daily, more times than one, and kind of taper off depending on the person's risk level. A daily mood rating that the person would rate, and then that would sort of set off a kind of an automated topic for the day, or something for the day that kind of would fall into the reflect, distract, talk. And this could be an inspiration quote. This could be kind of a distraction exercise. This could be anything that sort of has been identified as this could be helpful to a person. Over here you can see that there's a little heart, so they can like it and they can actually update their safety plan if they feel that this will actually help them. So let me show you some more detail what these strategies look like. So for reflection, there could be some photos, reasons for living, gratitude journal, so a person could be prompted to think about like what are you grateful, like 3 things you're grateful for, or maybe quotes. Distraction, so some progressive muscle relaxation, this could actually link them to progressive muscle relaxation exercise, or meditation exercise, mindfulness exercise, so it's sort of like right there. And also, I actually didn't mention this, but at the very top here, there is a panic button, help now, so this is something that a person could access right away. Okay, another feature is this is one example of reasons for living that a person could identify. There could be a picture, how do they give you hope, kind of a prompt for viewing other reasons for living. So it's meant to be very interactive and dynamic and constantly being updated and changed. This is an example of how to change the environment. Our target audience are people who are discharged from an inpatient unit or people who are at risk for suicide more generally. We are also hoping to kind of address the clinician problem, which is clinicians are very often worried about people who are at risk for suicide. And are they actually reviewing their safety plan? Are they doing anything about the safety plan? So we also feel the clinicians would benefit from this.
And the games are creating, well, first it's safety, right? So the person will feel safer and also creating a sense of confidence and control that they can handle a suicidal crisis if it comes up for them. It's a living document, easily accessible, and also ultimately we're hoping to create a life that's worth living. So in addition to safety, creating kind of this sense of that life is worth living. As success will be defined, patients engage in the app daily, and ultimately reducing suicidal behavior and readmissions to hospital.
One more time for that. Motivator. Drop the E. All right. All yours.
I'm Nancy Parr, psychology faculty at University of Michigan. Our project, I guess I was too excited yesterday with too many information, so I couldn't speak them. One of the real major issues in mental health is that it's not just actually depression. Depression is considered as the #1 public health problem in the world because it's not just affect individual's well-being, but it affects the family, also the work performance, and it also makes risk factor for other physical health issues, and also the suicide by default. It's interesting actually. Yesterday I was actually listening radio. You probably heard about the German flight actually crashed in France. Now they wonder about co-pilot was actually suffer from depression. But anyway, so we have a great treatment regimen, talk therapy, and pretty much a combination between talk therapy and medication. A significant number of depression is treated. But the main problem is relapse. Pretty much 2/3 of actually depression patients who are successfully treated and discharged actually relapse some point in their life. And so that's our issue. So how can we actually resolve that?
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I work at Case Commons in New York. So to address the issue Nancy was just talking about, we came up with a self-monitoring system for clients, which would also allow clinicians access to see how their patients are doing. It takes the form of automated greetings, questions about how people are doing, and motivation. This would be specifically for patients who are suffering from depression. They're doing okay, but they're worried about another relapse.
And they also want to live a full life.
Yes.
Not just like
Yeah.
having a problem.
So as you can see, the patients are asked every morning, like, how are you doing? We encourage them to do pro-social behavior. If they're not doing well, we check in on them more often. And eventually, if they continue to not do well, we ask if they want to call. So that clinicians, or so that clients can ask for help if they feel like they need it. So I'm going to turn it over to Natsuki again to talk about success metrics.
Can you actually take the first one? Yeah, we are not really like the best here, but I think the idea behind it is great. This is the tailored intervention, and also this interactive. So we try to actually inject not just the technology, but also actually, how can we actually inject the human caring component, behind it. So it's a this is just one example. Started at 11 a.m. But we think about there are people who actually have a harder time different time of the day. We can get that information. It could be morning, it could be afternoon, or it could be at night. So the message will be sent there will be another reinforcement message will be sent depend on what time of day they have actually a most difficult time. So we start with actually the name. So it's personalized to connect to it. So Susan, and good morning, how are you doing? So how are you doing today? So we just monitor. So and then we give them the reminder for actually medication, also the positive behavior. So this program has goals the lessening the symptoms, but also actually building psychosocial assets. So so the yeah. So it's success, yeah. Yeah.
One more time for fine folks at motivators. Group D. These fine folks have decided they're going with the laptop route or continues to rate.
What's your team?
This is Can-Do College. Ready to can do.
Is this on?
There you go.
This is a can-do college group. Education is increasingly important in our globalized world. Individuals with even 30 to 60 college credits are likely to earn 30% more over their lifetime and to be employed over longer periods of time. Community colleges are an important entry point for relatively disadvantaged groups in our country. 50% of Hispanic students, and 31% of African American students will enter via community college, while only 18% of white students, the majority of the population, will do so. Recognizing the importance of community college, President Obama recently proposed that we make the first 2 years of community college free for anybody who is willing to work for it. However, many students who enroll in community colleges have a difficult time meeting their educational goals. Of first-time college students who enrolled in a community college, only 39.1% earned a credential from either a 2- or a 4-year college in the next 6 years. Fully 80% of people who enter community colleges have an aspiration of eventually graduating with a 4-year degree. Only 16% make it. Barriers include mental health symptoms. Non-traditional students, about 20%, will have a positive depression screen. Another 20% will have a positive PTSD screen. Okay. There are other barriers, including college. I am going to go to our story. Think for a moment. Okay, you all know this person. Imagine a 26-year-old woman working as a receptionist at a hair salon. She has the goal of getting a nursing certificate from her local community college. She's a single mother. She has a 2001 Buick and has to take evening courses after she collects her daughter at daycare and drops her to mother's. She isn't getting much sleep, and she has depressive symptoms. But she's not going to see the doctor until she enrolls in Healthy Plan Michigan, which is that she's going to do any time now as soon as she gets the time. She wants to make a better life for herself and her daughter. How can we help her and other at-risk community college students?
Thanks, Marcia. Marcia's laid out a wicked problem, this issue of low matriculation for community college students. Real quick, I'm going to give an overview of our assessment and intervention, mobile intervention. Obviously, who we're targeting is community college students. We're also, in terms of how we're going to help them, we're looking at 3 things: linking students to key campus resources, boosting students' confidence in their ability to succeed, and also skill building, specifically time management, stress reduction, and study skills. How do we measure success? More graduates, right? Increased self-efficacy. And we've mocked out a little bit of an app, and that's what we have some slides here. Camden College app, and we're using the platform for Real Life EXP. We start with a welcome like this. Welcome, we know kids seem like a long road from here to graduation, but we feel sure you can get there. Other people just like you can make it. And we might ask them to text 2 strings to give them confidence that they could make it. And then we do some random notifications for assessment and intervention, but we also have these user-initiated notifications where they can go to it when they need to in 2 main ways: get help here or earn points. Get help here, they can do something like this: what do I need help with today or this week? Peer support, for example. And then they get something like this: the peer support group meets every Thursday at noon in the Student Center Lounge, and we'll be sure to look for you. They might also get an encouraging statement like, it's not about finishing first, it's about finishing, except in this case. No. We also want to incentivize their taking concrete steps towards graduating and being successful. So Ryan, one of the grad students here, mentioned this idea of badges. A lot of universities, University of Michigan is giving these badges for concrete skills. So we're going to help our students earn points and badges for doing things, such as studying for at least 1 hour, taking 5 minutes to check your schedule, or tell someone about a recent success. So here's an example. Text yes if you just told someone about a success. Text about the success here too. Yes, I earned an 83 yesterday in math class. And bottom line, what do you call someone who went to Washington Community College, called them not only graduated but employed? So that's our
Good thing there are no pyrotechnics, who knows how long
Very good. I don't maybe 10 minutes to get to my other thing.
They can't wait.
There it is.
Wow. Yay. Okay.
All right.
According to distraction.gov and the University of Michigan Transportation Research Institute, last year in the United States, 3,300 people were killed and 421,000 injured in accidents involving distracted drivers. 10% of drivers under the age of 20 involved in fatal crashes were reported as distracted at the time of the crash. This age group has the largest proportion of drivers who were distracted. Drivers in their 20s make up about a third of the distracted drivers in fatal crashes. A quarter of teens respond to a text message every time they drive, and over 20% of teens admit that most times they drive, they have extended multi-message text conversations. This is the wicked problem that we are setting out to address with dumb ways to drive. Our integrated, we didn't have time to write our own theme song, but our integrated smart driver platform helps every adult driver and their parents want to establish safe driving habits by reducing distracted driving and rewarding safe driving behavior. We envision technology that will serve young adults ages 16 to 24, which is the highest risk group for distracted driving. But for this pitch, we're going to focus on 16 to 18-year-olds and the parent-child component of our proposal. So here are some of the features listed up here. Sally, for example, would set up an account on Dumb Ways to Drive, and there is what her page would look like when she logs in. But at the time of setting up the account, she and her parent together would set up a contract. There would be a template in the app that they could choose that would allow them to describe some of the behaviors that the parents want to see from Sally and set some goals for changing her driving behaviors. So, for example, sending fewer text messages. And the app then combines fun and safety features. So she could choose some really goofy auto responses that would get sent when she's driving. Instead of responding herself, and she might be really worried about being out of touch with her friends for the short period of time when she's in the car, she can have funny text messages sent automatically. One of the important features of our app is a feedback loop where data gets collected automatically while she's driving that tracks location, speed, distance, number of calls and text messages sent and received. And then Sally and her parents get individualized feedback. So she would have a dashboard that reports her driving habits. And she could also, on whatever basis she and her parents together choose, get a report sent both to her and to her parent saying, today or this week or this month, this is how Sally's driving has been going. And that report could also get provided to insurance companies who would have an interest and a stake in hearing that her driving is improving and knowing that she's not sending text messages or engaging in distracted driving behavior. And we would like to partner with insurance companies to incentivize this behavior by reducing costs. Here's a little bit of what it would look like. So we have settings over here. Here's some of the data that gets collected, average speed, driving distance, time spent driving, fuel efficiency, for example. And we picture setting this up in a way that schools, similar to the way the blood battle works with UofM and OSU, schools could compete like Huron High School, Pioneer High School could have a competition to see whose teams were driving in a safer way and reward that. So we want this to be fun for teens and then also safety promoting. So the platform activates when the young adult gets into the car and the data is collected, as I said. And what success looks like with this technology is safer driving habits by teens, more peace of mind for parents, more empowerment for youth whose parents can trust them more now to take the car out, more transparency for insurance companies and potentially savings for families if insurance companies were incentivizing better driving habits. And then ultimately, in the big picture, what we hope to see is a reduction in deaths and injuries due to distracted driving. That's our pitch.
Our just keeps going up. The music. Some ways to drive, I like. Here, plus here. Justice, so. You're sorry. That's all right? No,
While we're setting up, I just want to say I am taking pictures, so if you have any, if you don't want your pictures posted on our website, please just email me and let me know, okay?
Like a thankful, I see, right?
Alrighty, all yours.
All right, thank you. We're here to present to you our app called Adhere, or our mobile platform. This is going to be a very useful tool for people of all ages who are living with a chronic disease. Chronic disease is the fastest growing of ill people in this country, as opposed to, in the past, it's always been infectious diseases. And taking medications to control your chronic illness is a very complex, demanding, expensive, and widespread problem. More than half of the people who are prescribed medications do not take them as prescribed. And this introduces a whole host of short and long-term complications for the patient, but also for the people who care for them, as well as their healthcare providers and the people who pay for their healthcare. This is presented in terms of increased costs, but also psychosocial burdens such as worry and concern for the patient. It also decreases the patient's quality of life. Our app is designed to appeal to a number of stakeholders: the patient, the caregivers, and the loved ones that care for them, as well as the healthcare providers and the insurers. Healthcare providers who work with patients using our Adhere app will be better able to understand their patient's illness experience so that they can better make decisions with the patient to better control their illness. Your skilled, motivated patients, the ones that we all love to work with, now have a new tool that can really help them integrate into their everyday life techniques and strategies to stay healthy. Our unmotivated patients, the ones who really would benefit from Adhere, will be able to take a more active role in their illness at a level at which they would decide to engage, but not feel consumed by their illness and the demands of their illness and the demands that other people may be placing upon them.
So here's just kind of a prototype we made really quickly of a look at what our sort of entry to the app would look like. Just having some options here that they can click. So this is sort of your med pill bottle and opening up into different things that they can access. So they can look at their list of medications, they can see side effects or interactions between drugs. They'd be able to connect to a doctor if they have questions or if they need a refill or something like that. Connect to loved ones who might be able to help. I'm sure you've heard of various apps like that where if they don't take a particular medication or miss a few, then it would contact a caregiver of some sort that would be able to prompt them in a more meaningful way for them. Support resources and things like that. They could access all in one place. So the idea would be this would be integrated with maybe on their smartphone, and it would be able to map onto their reminders and things like that for them to monitor this all in one place. And what would success look like for our app? Because we're appealing to so many different user types, providers, patients, caregivers, we would hope for a 25% rate of routine use, which we would define as at least 2 to 3 times using it fully. We ideally would like we'd like to beef up this interaction between providers and patients to sort of stimulate a better conversation about how to improve medical adherence. So if we could have 50% of our patients report a better conversation with their doctor, that would be very successful for us. And then among those routine users that we would hope to at least have a decent subset who come back to the app, use it either weekly or at least if they can get their adherence to a satisfactory level, maybe they come back if a new condition arises, if they particularly are struggling at that time. Among those routine users, we hope for a 75% rate of adherence. Right now, it's basically among patients taking medications for chronic care, it's about 50% of them that are adherent. we can beat that up to 3/4, that would be fantastic. Big picture, what we're hoping to do is shift from sort of a reactive model where, if you miss quite a bit of medications, you end up in the emergency room, driving up those ambulatory costs. If we can shift to more of a proactive model, a preventative model, then that will help people. Very good.
Time for the adhere folks. We are down to the grand finale. Right, Ted.
So, my name's Lisa Buckley. I work with the Transportation Research Institute. I'm a psychologist there. Our mobile app is going to be called iTED, which stands for Intervening for Teenage Drivers. It seeks to address, as the other group mentioned already, some of the horrible statistics around teenage driving crashes. So, every single year, 3,000 teens die on the roads in this country. There's 30,000 of the adult, 30,000 people die on the roads. That's 7 people every single day, aged 16 to 19, that die on the roads in this country. So it's a pretty big problem, and we're taking a social influence approach to try and change this behaviour. So we know that teens are very much affected by their friends, and we're trying to tap into that positive influence that teens can have. So we seek, so our iTED mobile app will help friends of teen drivers speak up when they feel unsafe and when their friends are driving in an unsafe way. And to do that by reducing their lack of confidence and increasing personal responsibility. So our key problem is that teens aren't speaking up when their friends are driving or about to drive in an unsafe way, but they really do want to. They really want to help keep their friends safe. We think that an app will be a great benefit to the teen friends by increasing their confidence to speak up, by having an app with these tools, and by having the teen driver, having a different user, the teen driver feels safe, feel positive for being a good friend. So we seek to have 2 key benefits. One for the teen friends, who can increase confidence and increase social responsibility to speak up, and for the teen drivers to help reinforce and respond and keep a positive group friendship around being good friends. Success for us would be having people use the app, so measuring frequency, duration, engagement with the app, things like whether they use different components, and then also some self-reported speaking up behaviour, self-reported willingness to intervene, self-reported intervening, and self-reported safe driving behaviour is another key outcome that we would like to measure. So I wanted to also cover some of the case definitions that we went through with our process of developing the app. We'd like to really try and encourage a friend of a teenage driver to be able to use schedules, tips, reminders around a specific event, so perhaps pre-event, during event, post-event, to receive tips at the right time, at the right clock time, the right actual time, but also the right event, the right schedule. So having tips, reminders in the right context. The other component is having the friend of a teenage driver access the right words as they need it so they can communicate. So what is it they can say? What is it they want to say to speak up? Perhaps having a repository, dictionary of terms that they've identified they can use that might be useful. Another component we would have is having friends practice responses as part of a game to help build confidence. So we would have a gaming component to this to really help build that confidence to use those right words in the right context. And another key component is focusing on the user as a teenage driver and rewarding friends for maintaining a good relationship. So we might build in rewards like the teenager sending a smiley face or a little heart or something to say thanks for intervening, which could also be sent at different times too. So we really want to maintain that the friendship network is one that looks out for each other. It's a group of friends that keep each other safe. So these are, I guess, some of our key components. So we have the tip section. They're the scheduled events, the tips. We have this network, so they know the group of friends that are looking out for each other. They can build that network. It's about creating a safe friendship group. We had that game that we're talking about, the one that builds confidence and rehearsal and reinforcement of the engagement, speaking up, and the techniques. We thought because it's about the friendship network that they can start to engage in some avatars or drawings with each other, and a panic button, the kind of what they can do in an emergency context around speaking up, what they can do when it's important, when they want something right now. Thank you.